Hello and welcome to tonight's Bruin Family Insights virtual discussion entitled Volunteer Opportunities for Students and Families, brought to you by UCLA Parent and Family Programs. Throughout the academic year, we engage around a variety of topics and issues intended to help you best support your student. My name is John Mosser, and I'm a Bruin parent and member of the UCLA Parents Council leadership team. My daughter is an applied math undergrad and will finish her degree with the completion of the winter quarter. She will participate in the 2019 graduation ceremony, which coincides with the start of UCLA's centennial celebration. Tonight's conversation is about volunteer opportunities at UCLA. We will explore ways you and your student can become involved with volunteerism at UCLA, discuss UCLA's commitment to service, and learn why these experiences are key to our students' growth and development. This evening, I'm grateful to have with us Karen McLean, Senior Director of Athletic Partnerships and Strategic Initiatives for the UCLA Alumni Association, and Matthew Santiago, a fourth-year student and UCLA Volunteer Center Fellow. Thank you both for joining us. Speaking to tonight's live audience, as Karen and Matthew introduce themselves and throughout the broadcast, please feel free to submit questions via the chat screen, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can. So Karen and Matthew, please start us off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your current role.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Karen McLean, and I'm the Senior Director of Athletics Partnership and Strategic Initiatives here at UCLA Alumni Affairs, and I oversee the Volunteer Center. I have been with the association for about 6 years, and during that time, I've been responsible for the team that puts on events for alumni, specifically those related to pregame activities for athletics, as well as worked with the team that manages the building that we're in, the James West Alumni Center. In addition to that, I've also overseen our alumni travel program, which offers over 50 trips across the world. I am a UCLA grad, graduated with a degree in economics.
Amazing, and my name is Matthew Santiago, and I am a true Bruin Distinguished Senior here at UCLA. In addition, I'm also a Volunteer Center Fellow. This is my third year sitting on the advisory board for the Volunteer Center, and I also currently intern at the sixth best public relations firm, Fiona Hutton & Associates, and I've also been involved in a plethora of other campus organizations here at UCLA, so I'm just grateful to be here tonight.
Well, thank you both for sharing. It sounds like you both bring great experience and insight to tonight's conversation. To get us started, I'd like to pose this question, the first question. Service is one of the three pillars of community at UCLA, along with education and research. Why do you believe service and volunteerism are such an integral part of UCLA's culture?
Yeah, I can start us off. Service is one of our true Bruin values here. We have 5: raise, accountability, integrity, service, and excellence. So service is one of them. And I think that UCLA is already an amazing school, #1 public university. We sit in one of the most renowned cities in the world. So we do sit in a very privileged place. And I think that what's great about UCLA is that we acknowledge that privilege, and we actively try to give back to communities to help our partners and organizations in the city of Los Angeles. And we just try to give back to those who aren't as fortunate as we are, and always try to perform service. And I think that we have to do that. And it's so important because of the opportunities that we have that other people and organizations and other schools don't get. And so because we have that opportunity, we have to perform service to make sure that we are utilizing our capacity to the fullest to help bring about a greater good for the general public.
And I would just add to that even, yes, from the student perspective, that is very important. But now that the Volunteer Center is a part of Alumni Affairs, that gives our alumni, our parents, our faculty, staff, and people within the UCLA community the opportunity to provide service to others. Service is a lifelong goal, and I think that it's great that it starts here as a student, but if it can continue throughout your time on this earth, to be able to give back to other people is very rewarding.
Well, thank you both. Yeah, I was pulled into the service part of UCLA when my student did the volunteer day, and I enjoy that very much. Um, let's move on. Matthew, I'll ask you, what is the mission of the Volunteer Center, and how does the staff work to further this mission at UCLA?
Yeah, so the Volunteer Center essentially tries to increase service opportunities and make them as accessible as possible to everyone here at UCLA, as well as in the community at large. We just try to increase civic engagement opportunities to engage and just promote service and volunteering all around. And the center is working nonstop to do that. I, as well as Karen and other people on the advisory board, the other fellows, and part of people, the director of the Volunteer Center, we meet every Tuesday to plan for all of the events for that quarter. And then we are always continuously meeting to make sure we're on target for all of the events and all of the, the missions and goals that we have. And besides meeting on every Tuesday, Karen and Ashley, the director of the Volunteer Center, are nonstop working over the summer to make sure that the center is as great as it can be.
Karen, anything to add, or?
Nope. One thing, again, now that the Volunteer Center is a part of Alumni Affairs, we really look to those other than the students, the alumni, the parents, staff, and faculty to get involved. And we like to find as many opportunities as we can for people to get involved.
Very nice. Another observation I had, being new to service at the university, is I'm impressed how when I volunteer that people ask for feedback. There's follow-up, and there's a good feedback loop in there to do a good job with the service. Karen, I'd like to ask you, the Volunteer Center recently came under the Alumni Association. Why is this a natural fit for these two entities?
Well, the one good thing is that in addition to the students with the Alumni Association, we have access to over 500,000 people that can provide service to not just the LA community, but wherever they live. One of the things that we attempted to do with this year's Volunteer Day was to make it a global day of service. In the past, it's been about students helping out in the Los Angeles area, but having the Alumni Association as part of this, we were able to have projects all over the world, including a blood drive in Hong Kong, a dump cleanup in Namibia, as well as other opportunities throughout the country.
Alrighty, sounds good. Matthew, which campus partners do you work with regularly to bring more service projects to the community?
Yeah, so the Volunteer Center works really closely with Residential Life. A lot of students and faculty actually live on what we call the Hill, which is the residential dorms and suites and halls where all of or a chunk of the students live. So we work regularly with them to just make sure that those who live in the university dorms and everything are aware of what's going on and have the opportunities to engage and volunteer as well. In addition, we work with the Student Wellness Commission, which is just a large student organization here on campus. It's actually part of our undergraduate student association council, which is our student government here. And they are actively trying to do like days of service and other service opportunities. And then our last campus partner, one of our big ones, is also the Community Programs Office. And all of those people, all of those organizations that I mentioned, they always send one representative to be a part of the advisory board, which is housed under the Volunteer Center. And they meet with us on Tuesdays to help plan and learn about what the Volunteer Center is doing and also how they can contribute, what they can bring to the table, and then also the networks they can provide to outreach and to get other organizations involved.
Sounds like the UCLA students are very busy on campus. I know my daughter is, and
yeah, we try to be.
That's very good. Also, Matthew, please share some examples of successful projects which you partnered.
Yeah, so we currently, every fall, the Volunteer Center, in collaboration with Residential Life, who books our spaces, the Student Wellness Commission, like I mentioned, who takes the lead on one of the people takes the lead on this project and sits on the committee. We all collectively work together for an event called Nonprofit Networking Night, which is essentially an event where the UCLA Volunteer Center invites hundreds, a ton of outside nonprofit organizations, and they come to speak with those who are interested in getting engaged with the nonprofit sector. So they offer things such as internships, real life jobs, part-time jobs, or just ways to get involved and engaged. And it's really a large scale event, and we would not be successful with collaborating with all of our partners because we need spaces that gets booked for us through our partners, food that we get for those in attendance, the outreach and the people we connect to. We use our network to make sure we are reaching a vast array of nonprofit organizations. So the students and those who want to engage with these nonprofits, they're not niched into any specific sector within the nonprofit world. They have an array of things. And I think it's such a beautiful an event because a lot of students do end up leaving the event learning more about the nonprofit center in general and about all the good the nonprofit does, but also that they get real life opportunities to engage with them further. And then additionally, I got involved with the center because I was a UCLA Volunteer Center fellow. And I think this is what makes the Volunteer Center so special here at UCLA, because the Volunteer Center is housed under UCLA, and it asks for student voices. So it recognizes what we want to get involved in, what we see on campus and ways we can do it. And then so it selects a group of 8 to 12 student representatives here at UCLA. And we go through an application process. And after those get selected, those selected are known as Volunteer Center Fellows. And we are the student representatives on campus that work hand in hand with our directors and our supervisors to make sure that the students are also represented and our voices are also heard. And it's a really amazing program, the Fellows program under the UCLA Center. So that's another way that I got involved. Yeah.
Alex B posed a question. You made it sound very rewarding and exciting to be in your role. And Alex B was wondering how a student can become a leader with the Volunteer Center. How do you even start?
My biggest recommendation is check out the Volunteer Center website. It has a list of all of our service opportunities, all the ways to get involved yearly, one time if you're just can't do a full commitment, but you want to get involved for that one time, yearly, like I just said, or just like when you want to go in and want to go out of help or participating in the Volunteer Center. So check out the website because that has all of the information. But the way specifically that students can get involved is you can join you can apply to be a fellow. That process happens at the spring quarter of every year is when the applications are ongoing, and then we select our new fellows at the end of the year to serve on the next school year. We also have what was called a one bus, one cause, which is essentially we get one bus. This is a school bus, a traditional school bus that holds around 50 students or 50 people. And you can just sign up to be a part of that bus, and it'll just take you to a service opportunity that the Volunteer Center is having. So we can go to soup kitchens, we can go to schools, we can go to, any organization or place in Los Angeles that needs our help, and we can give them something meaningful to. We can do that. In addition, we have, all these amazing events and programs such as Nonprofit Networking Night, Operation Gratitude Ambassador Program, all of these things. And we would need longer than an hour if I listed them all. So there's a ton of ways to get involved. And my biggest recommendation is to ultimately check out the volunteer website. It's volunteer.ucla.edu, and it has everything you need to get involved, especially as a student.
Well, thanks, Matthew. You make me want to go back to school.
Okay.
So Karen, another question. UCLA Volunteer Day recently celebrated its 10th anniversary. How has this event evolved over the years, and why is it so special to the community?
The Volunteer Center started in 2009. It was something that Chancellor Block wanted to put in place to have UCLA make its name in terms of volunteerism. And that first volunteer day, there were over 4,000 students, staff, and faculty that participated. basically in a day of service. Since that time, there have been several other volunteer days, and this year we celebrated our 10th. And it was the first volunteer day that where the Volunteer Center was under the Alumni Affairs umbrella. So what that gave us an opportunity to do is to expand the group of volunteers, not only students, but alumni, parents, and friends of UCLA, people within the community. And it also allowed us to expand our service from beyond Los Angeles. We utilized our alumni networks and alumni leaders to basically let us know that, hey, in our area, we work with this particular food kitchen, or we work with this particular shelter, and we'd like to do service on that day. So it allowed UCLA to be a provider of service all over the world. And that's something that, since it's now under Alumni Affairs, we can utilize that network that expands, like I said, to over 500,000 people.
And to just add to that, what was really cool that I noticed this year was that we were allowed to pick our volunteer destinations or locations. And it was really cool because normally when I was a first year here at UCLA, a little baby, we essentially, I participated, but we just kind of got on a bus and we went to wherever they were sending us. But this year, I think the center did something amazing, and they allowed us to choose where we wanted to go. We signed up for the things that we were interested in, such as, animal shelters, soup kitchens, the elderly homes. Like, it was more meaningful and more intentional, because when you sign up for what you want to do, it shows that you really care about what you're doing and why you're volunteering there. So I think the intentionality behind the volunteer day has also grown, in addition to how well it's expanded and how big its reach is now.
Okay, let me just add to that. My wife and I volunteered. We had no idea what we were getting into. And I won't go into detail with the experience, but when we went home that night, we both shed some tears over, what we, experienced. So that pulled us in. We were hooked then. So we're really, that's something, I guess, that Chancellor Block kicked off. It's a wonderful thing because my daughter had a similar experience. She was in a different area, different bus, went a different place, and it seems it really touches the people that maybe have never done something like this before. As a follow-up to that question, we had someone that was asking if they can coordinate a volunteer event with maybe a group like their sorority. Is it possible to do that?
Absolutely. One of the programs that Matthew talked about was the One Bus, One Cause. We have been to the LA Food Bank. We've been to Operation Gratitude. If there's an entity that particular sorority has some tie to, we can make that into a One Bus, One Cause event. It's really open to, the possibilities are endless. So if there's something that even an individual has a passion about, and they want to get involved and get more people involved, we are totally open to partnering with them on that. That's the other thing too with the alumni. We have the alumni networks, and they do volunteering on their own. But if we can partner with them and make a bigger footprint in terms of the service that we're providing, and if it's in partnership with the UCLA Volunteer Center, that makes it even better.
A question I have: what would be the lead time on something like that? And also, is there just certain times during the year when they could volunteer for the event?
We pretty much do One Bus, One Causes throughout the year. Obviously, we try to stay away from finals time and break times, although we do, again, that's an opportunity for people other than students to get involved. But there really is no limit to when we can do a project.
Very good. Here's a question for Matthew. You probably have answered this in part, but if it's something you've already answered, then we could pass. But
Okay.
how can students get connected to the Volunteer Center or other service entities on campus? I
Yeah,
guess.
so I did answer, most of this question. I said, check the Volunteer Center website. We do have a lot of opportunities on there. And additionally, the programs that the Volunteer Center has are unbeatable. And the fellows, Operation Gratitude, Nonprofit Networking Night, One Buses, One Causes, all of those. But to highlight the other part of the question, other service entities on campus, I would recommend to just check out the organizations that I said we partner with, because those are also hubs of service here on campus that really try to do kind of the same thing as the Volunteer Center, or increase service. We're all trying to increase service and volunteerism together, and which is why there are natural partners. So they also have committees and organizations where you can join. So that's Residential Life. They have a chapter called the National Residence Hall Honorary that's housed under the Residential Life, and they are focused on. They have a service focus as well. The Community Programs Office, they are working to always better the community, which is hence their name. You can get involved in that one. And the Student Wellness Commission, like I mentioned before, is a student organization, and you can sign up with that organization and be placed in different committees in those orgs as well. So students can get involved in all of those three things. Those are our natural partners that we go to. But once again, UCLA has a wide array of organizations here on campus. So I would just, if you're interested in anything, or particularly service, go on the UCLA website, look up service, and there's a ton of service opportunities and service organizations here on campus. Find the one that speaks to you, because at the end of the day, service is universal. No type of service is better than the other, and do whichever one you are most passionate about, because if you are passionate about it, UCLA has it here, and we're always providing service.
Thanks, Matthew. Just, I should have said this earlier, but for the people that just broke their pencil trying to write down all the good things that Karen and Matthew are saying, that would be me. That I'd try to write everything down. This will be saved. This broadcast will be saved, and you can revisit it and pause it and write the stuff down later if you don't get it tonight. And Matthew, another question for you. How do you see service infused into other aspects of your UCLA experience beyond your work in the Volunteer Center?
Yeah, I think that, I mentioned earlier that service is one of our true Bruin values. So I never have to intentionally try to infuse it into being a UCLA student, because it is inherently part of being a Bruin. It is one of our values that we try to uphold as students, as faculty, as staff. We always try to abide by these things. So even when I'm not with the center and I'm with, another student organization, or I'm out at my internship, I'm always trying to look for opportunities when I can, perform service for the area that I'm in at the moment, people who I can serve in general, because service is such a broad term. It doesn't always mean going out and painting, a school, or going out and feeding someone. It means providing your time, and you're intentionally providing your time to those who may need it. And then I think that if you always carry that mindset around with you wherever you go, which is something that we are taught here at UCLA, to always give back, to always, essentially provide service in whatever regards that means, it's always infused in everything that I do. And I think that I can speak, or I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think it's for my, other Bruins as well, that we're always trying to, wherever we go, we're just trying to make sure that we are upholding to that. And whenever we see a need and we have the potential and the capacity to help out that need in any regard, we're always trying to go and provide our services wherever possible.
Very good. I personally think that being a good leader is about serving. So UCLA is doing a good job there. Karen, I have a question for you. How are Bruin families and alumni incorporated into UCLA volunteer efforts?
One of the fortunate things now that the Volunteer Center is under UCLA Alumni Affairs is that we have volunteers from all walks of life. So either, it can be students, or it can be alumni, it can be parents, it can be people who live, in the UCLA community, or people who live elsewhere. Volunteering is open to everyone, young and old. And it's a good feeling when you volunteer and you give of your time and your effort. And so we just want to leverage the opportunities that we have to reach out to so many people as potential volunteers, and giving everybody the opportunity to provide service.
Well, I can speak to that as well. Lydia S. asked a question, how can I get involved in Parents Council? Let me just say that I volunteered in the past just maybe 14 months, maybe 25 to 30 times, usually along with my wife. And every single time I volunteered, sometimes you have to roll with the things that happen, but everybody is always so happy to have us there, even if we feel a little uncomfortable. I didn't go to UCLA, so some of the events I help out at are all alumni, and I feel a little funny. It's like, well, I didn't go to UCLA, but everyone's very welcoming. Other ways you can get involved without even being on the Parents Council, you can visit parents.ucla.edu and participate as an associate volunteer by filling out a quick and easy form. If you go to the website and you click on Parent Involvement and Support, and then click on Parent Volunteers, and there you'll see also a list of general events that occur throughout the year. If you fill out the volunteer list form, it's a simple form. You will receive monthly updates that have more detail describing the various events. And if you want to get even more involved, and you probably will once you volunteer a couple times, you could also do what my wife and I did by joining the Parents Council. And I believe that application process starts in the spring, if I'm not mistaken. Alrighty, and Karen, I have another question for you. How can out-of-state families and alumni become engaged in volunteerism?
One of the fortunate things about having the alumni network is we have alumni networks all over the country as well as all over the world. And we are looking to partner with those alumni networks to assist them in their volunteer efforts. Many of the networks already have organizations that they work with, and being able to expand that to include not only alumni, but parents and other people who are just friends of the university that may live in places other than Los Angeles. Working with those networks, we can come up with volunteer opportunities for anyone to be involved with. It's service is universal, so it's not just limited to, yes, it's under the UCLA Volunteer Center, but it's not limited just to here in the Los Angeles area. People can volunteer anywhere.
Thanks, Karen. Tina M. asked, are there any specific volunteer needs that can be organized by out-of-state or international families? And I think you touched on some of the things. There's coffee socials and organizing local volunteers to help maybe schools or nonprofits or needy citizens or groups. You can see some of the things that UCLA is doing locally and be inspired to do those same things in your community, wherever you are around the earth. And of course, again, check out parents.ucla.edu for other ideas and suggestions. Anything else to add to that one, Karen? Or?
Nope. Also, you can check out volunteer.ucla.edu. There are a number of opportunities for people to get involved. We receive numerous requests for volunteers, and we basically vet those requests, and then they are listed on our website. So, and they're not just local opportunities either. So I would definitely suggest that people check that out. One thing that's pretty nice that we do is we partner with Operation Gratitude, and with Veterans Day just around the corner. That's something that anyone can participate in. It's basically a letter writing campaign to our servicemen and women, to our first responders, those that provide service on a daily basis. And it's an opportunity for us thank them for their service and to let them know that we appreciate their efforts. And it's something that, even for kids, if maybe they can't write a letter, but they can draw a picture or something like that. And that's something that through the Volunteer Center, we can then get those letters out to Operation Gratitude.
Very good. I think we touched on this a little bit, but maybe Karen and then Matthew, why do you think it is vital for college students to be engaged in service opportunities during their academic career?
I think the service aspect, hopefully prior to coming to college, students have been involved in service opportunities, but it just helps to reinforce that as a college student, it's not all about the student. It is about giving back to those less fortunate than yourself. And I think that that's something that continues throughout your life. And if you have the opportunity at a great institution like UCLA to participate in service opportunities, that's something that sticks with you. And as you go through your life, you have the opportunity to continue to provide service.
Do you have anything you want to add, Matthew, to that, or?
No, I think I said it all and Karen said it all, that it's just an important part of giving back, and yeah.
And then someone asked, they were wondering if there's any course credit available or maybe even scholarships for volunteering.
Yeah, so there's actually a civic engagement minor here at UCLA that kind of focuses up on, some of the inherent values of the Volunteer Center, because we do like to promote civic engagement. And so if someone is very interested in that, they can enroll in that minor. And I know they have a capstone project for that minor, which means it's in addition to the year-long class that someone would have to take for that minor, they place or they put them in a internship or something where they are their project essentially is focused on civic engagement. And so if you take that minor, you obviously will get credit and everything for that. Additionally, there are just many scholarships offered at UCLA. And some of those are offered through the Alumni Association. And a lot of the some of the questions ask, how have you, done service on campus? Recently, I just won the True Bruin Distinguished Senior Award. And one of the questions that I had to fill out on that application was, what is one of the 5 True Bruin values that you've done, and what else could be done further? And I touched upon service, and that obviously worked out in my favor. So I think that, I don't know if there's anything very specific for just service scholarships. Maybe Karen knows more, but as to my knowledge, I don't know if there's anything very specific just on that. But I think that it's a component in a lot of the application scholarships in general here at UCLA, that they're always kind of asking about service in general and what you've done and how you continue to give back. And so that answers your question.
So I guess in general, if you do good things and put good things out there, good things come back to you in general, I think.
Yeah, that's the goal.
So Karen, I have a question for you. What can we expect to see from the Volunteer Center both in the coming year, and what do you envision for the future of the program?
Well, for the Volunteer Center, again, the fact that it's in Alumni Affairs, we have a ton of opportunities to engage alumni, but also to engage campus partners. We're all here on this large campus, and one of our goals is to be able to incorporate service throughout all of campus. So if it's the Office of Residential Life, if it's Student Affairs, our friends in the Community Programs Office, working with organizations on campus to make sure that we're all focused on service.
Alrighty, and then Arthur L. asked what volunteer opportunities are coming up, and I can speak personally. I'm going to have 3 Thanksgiving dinners for the week of Thanksgiving, and I'm not sure that, I've been trying to lose weight, so I don't know how that's going to go, but So the Bruin Guardian Scholars have a Thanksgiving dinner. I hate to say the date because I may have it wrong, but I think it's Monday, Thanksgiving week. Bruin Guardian Scholars are mainly foster youth. And also the Dash Center Thanksgiving, I think, is the next day. I think it's a Tuesday. And that is for international and out-of-state students. Maybe they can't go home, or my wife and I did this last year, and the international students asked us questions about Thanksgiving that I didn't know how to answer. So that was it was very fun interacting with everyone. And there's many more opportunities. Again, you see them on the parents.ucla.edu site. Also, Joycelyn, if I'm saying that correctly, Joycelyn F. asks, is there a list of year-round volunteer opportunities with UCLA that students and their families can view online or via hard copy? And that I answered previously as well. If you sign up for the volunteer list, and you'll receive the monthly updates of all the detailed things that you can do. Unless we have anything else, should we proceed to the last question?
Actually, I wanted to add to the opportunities for Thanksgiving. The volunteer fellows put on the Thanksgiving Harvest Feast, which is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, where they provide a Thanksgiving dinner to students and community members and their families in need to come and fellowship, have a good dinner, and possibly take food for the weekend, because it's also serving those people who can't go home for Thanksgiving. So that's yet another opportunity. So if you need another Thanksgiving dinner to go to, Wednesday night's available as well. And that's held here on campus.
We also have a lot of we have a couple more one cause opportunities coming up as well. I think we just had one, but I think we do have another one coming up for this quarter as well. So something to look out for if you still want to get engaged.
So let me review. I'm going to have Thanksgiving Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then Friday leftovers. So I'll have to hit the gym. So should we move on to our final question of the night?
Do it.
Okay, if there is one key piece of information you feel a parent or family member should take away from this discussion, what would it be?
I can start. I would just say that service is integral to UCLA and to the Los Angeles community. It's extremely important, not even here or in LA in general. I think it's important worldwide. Everyone should be doing service. Everyone should be giving back. We all have, a capacity to help others, to provide our services when they're needed. And I think one of the biggest takeaways is that service is important, no matter how minuscule, no matter how small something is, that you don't know your impact. And just being on this advisory board and just working so close with Karen and Ashley, and just seeing all that they do and then all that the fellows do and all that we all do together just to give back to other people is so inspiring. And you don't know how many people and lives you're touching just by signing up for an event or giving 3 hours or 30 minutes of your time. It's so impactful. And then secondly, that, if you don't know how to get involved, or you don't know how to just be a part of anything, as I think we've all said tonight, there are so many opportunities here at UCLA. I can give you 30 different websites and 40 different organizations, but there's always a way to get involved here for service and for volunteering at UCLA. If you ever need help with that, please just go to the volunteer.ucla.edu website, or honestly, UCLA service, and there is something for you. There's something for anyone. And I think those are the important things that people should take away tonight.
And I would just add to that it's more than about students providing service. It's students, it's parents, it's alumni, faculty, staff. UCLA is a very large community, and extends beyond Los Angeles. So no matter where you are on this earth, you can help someone else out. I think that it's very important to share the gifts that we all have. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, money. It's time. It's your hands. It's, having a conversation with someone. There are so many ways that you can provide service to your fellow humans, and everybody can do it.
Alrighty, well, I can add to that. It's voting night, and there's a lot of division, in our world, and I can tell you from when I would volunteer, the power of just helping other people. That's the way we can heal the world. We can heal communities. We can heal people, and you can heal yourself when you volunteer and help others. The service and lead by example concepts are powerful ones. And I can add, as a parent, I know one of the ideas of service is UCLA is a very, very big place, maybe a microcosm of the world. And I think part of the idea is to find small communities at UCLA to make the student feel better. And that's something we can apply to the world and to our neighborhoods as well. So that's what I've gotten out of some of my experiences so far. So Karen and Matthew, thank you for sharing this helpful information with us. Your insight is really valuable, and we hope that our audience enjoyed this exclusive opportunity to ask their questions. Thank you to everyone out there who joined us tonight and submitted your questions. And if you submitted a question that wasn't addressed tonight, the Parent and Family Programs team will follow up with a response in the coming days. The recorded version of this webinar will be available shortly. Your feedback is important to the continued growth of this program, and I know I can tell you they do listen. Everyone has always asked me for feedback when I would volunteer. So please be sure to complete the follow-up survey, which you will receive via email tomorrow if you pre-registered for the event. This is my first time hosting something like this, so I would appreciate join us in December for our next discussion, UCLA Legislative Advocacy, which will explore UCLA's advocacy efforts on the local, state, and federal levels, and how you can get involved in the process. As a reminder, all installments of Bruin Family Insights can be found on the Parent and Family Programs website, parent.ucla.edu. You've heard that a couple times tonight. We look forward to chatting with you again soon. Have a wonderful evening, and go Bruins!